Hello and welcome to our Westworld post-show analysis here on Games Radar, where each week, straight after the episode airs, we'll be talking about the biggest question that's been left unanswered in the show. This week we're looking at episode 1, and the question is, why did Bernard kill all the hosts? I'm Lauren, and I'm joined by Andy.
Hello.
And it's safe to say that there's major spoilers to follow for Westworld Season 2, so if you're not up to date, click away now and come back when you are.
So we get to the end of the first episode, which is, it jumps all over the place in terms of time, and there's a lot of action in it. Like, there's probably more action in it than half the first season of Westworld. And it turns out that all the hosts are clustered together in one particular part of the map, which no one has ever seen and is on no parts of the map at all, so that's a bit weird. And all the hosts are there dead. Hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And Bernard's killed them.
Yeah, apparently.
Somehow.
Didn't see that coming. Yeah. They're all floating in this massive lake, or I guess they say it's the sea, that isn't supposed to be there, presumably drowned, and everyone's like, oh, how did this happen? I'm so confused. And Bernard's like, it was me.
Yeah, that's the only thing Bernard seems sure about. He seems to have been very confused throughout the entire episode, but he was very sure that it was him that had killed all the hosts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm almost as confused as Bernard myself, because I have no idea, why he killed them all.
Confused is definitely a theme for the first episode of Westworld. And yeah, it seems a bit weird because even though we know from other parts of the episode that Bernard didn't just, up and join the host resistance as soon as, Dolores killed Ford, it does seem a bit weird that he would side that drastically with the humans and, kill all the hosts. So I don't really know why he's done that. I'm not sure he knows why at this point.
I don't know whether it's actually Bernard who's killed the hosts. I think it's the Arnold part of him thinking that he killed the hosts. If you think back to season 1, Arnold killed all the original hosts, right, to stop the park from opening, or to try and stop the park from opening. And I suspect that Arnold part of him, maybe he's fully throughout the season 2, he'll fully realise that he is Arnold, or he is like an appropriation of Arnold, and he's done the same thing again. He's killed all the hosts to prevent something from happening. That's my theory on it.
Yeah, that's more likely that he's done it because he had to. There's obviously other factors at play here. Part of me thinks that, it might even help the hosts because obviously they can't die. They can die and it's painful and obviously it's not enjoyable, but actually through death they actually achieve more consciousness and they can come back and all these things. So while it's not looking great right now, part of me thinks that it's part of a bigger plan to eventually, break out of Westworld and take over the world, like Dolores stated was her plan earlier in the episode.
It's possible. I mean, it could also be a big fake out. It could be a fake out to get everyone down there cleaning up all the hosts, and then suddenly they're all reactivated, and that's how they kill all the people who are important and take back Westworld for themselves. But I think, that could be a twist in the show. I don't know whether it's necessarily clever enough for Westworld, but I also think, I do think it's more Arnold than Bernard. I think we've seen Bernard's having trouble with his own personality, his own psyche. It's become corrupted, and that could well be the Arnold, something to do with Arnold being implanted in there and taking over his brain. So I suspect, my theory is that he is going to turn into Arnold throughout the course of the series as it goes on and events are explained.
You think you're going to see some dual personalities there, where he's possibly losing time. Sometimes he's Bernard, sometimes he's more Arnold. Yeah,
in the same way that Dolores and Wyatt are fused together, I think that there's some Arnold in there. I think if Ford is right at the end of season 1, and he's been preparing the hosts so that they know their enemy and they're ready to evolve into this conscious and sort of into this conscious state, then surely he's implanted some Arnold into Bernard.
It kind of seems like Dolores has finally got control of her memories and knows what's going on after the first season, but only to be replaced by Bernard, who literally doesn't understand what's going on at all.
Yeah, but I suspect it'll be his awakening in season 2, along with the awakening of all the other hosts, or the majority of them.
Should we talk about how he was capable of doing this as well? Like physically, how do you think Bernard could have killed that many hosts and dumped them all in the same part of the park for someone to find?
Yeah, I think there's obviously some big secrets going on. Like, we found the lab with the personalityless or faceless hosts sort of working away in the drones. Yeah, those are them. So there's obviously a lot of secrets in the park. It wouldn't surprise me if there is some sort of kill code for all the hosts, some sort of emergency shut them all down at all costs that fries their brains. You know, those little spears that they've been pulling out of their heads. Perhaps they all need to be in a specific place. We know that, you know, Bernard can jump from consciousness to consciousness, so they're all connected in some way. So I think it's very possible that he drew them all to a certain place and then did something, almost like an EMP blast or something, to fry all their brains.
Yeah, quite possible, yeah.
Well, those are our thoughts on episode 1 of Westworld Season 2. As ever, please leave your comments below and tune in next week where we will be discussing the big talking point from episode 2.